welcome to another Cloudy Council Training Academy video. As you may be aware, Cloudy have started offering fully WCAG 2.1 compliant websites. And today we're going to take a look at how to make a document fully WCAG 2.1 compliant. As you can see here, we have our demonstration council agenda that we've created in Word. To make your document fully accessible, you will need Adobe Acrobat. Once you have Adobe installed, within Word you will now see the Acrobat tab. Click on the Acrobat tab, and then we want to click on Create PDF and Run Action. Next, click on Make Accessible and save your document as a PDF. And now you can see on the right hand side we have our accessibility tool. So let's click on Start, and we begin with the title of the document. As you can see here, it says Parish Council. To make this compliant, we need to change it to something that fully describes the document. So I'm going to change it to Cloudy Council Meeting Agenda April 2021. Let's click OK to move to the next step. Here we want to change the language to English UK. And again, we can click OK to move to the next step. In this instance, we're not creating a fillable form, so we'll just click No. Next, we're presented with a message that advises us that it's going to look for images and correctly identify the document. Click to move to the next step. And as we can see here, Adobe has incorrectly identified a table as an image. So for the time being, we're going to ignore this and click Save and Close. Finally, in the last step, we're presented with the accessibility checker options. Finally, we can click on Start Checking, and Adobe is going to run the Accessibility Checker tool. So we can see here we've run into a few issues. Let's take a look at what they are. We have the logical reading order. This is something we need to confirm manually. We also need to confirm manually the colour and contrast is correct for the document to make it accessible. We will also need to manually check through the document to see if there are any links to websites. And we can also see here that alternate text for our images has failed. As we identified earlier, Adobe incorrectly identified our table to be an image, so we ignored this and saved and closed. We'll come back to this later and show you how to change it so that Adobe recognises it as a table. And last but not least, we have a few issues with our headers. Let's close the Accessibility Checker tool, and we will need to click on More Tools. In More Tools, under Protect and Standardised, you will see the Accessibility add-on. Let's add this to our list of tools. Next, click on Accessibility, and at the bottom we can see the Reading Order tool. So let's have a look to see if our document reading order is correct. As we can see here, the first two panels are in the incorrect order. To change this, click on Show Order panel, and we can simply drag the items into the correct location. Now we can see that our items are numbered in the correct order. Next, let's take a look at that incorrectly identified image. First, we're going to click to highlight the incorrectly identified field, and then in the order panel on the left hand side, we're going to right click to delete the selected item structure. Next, we're going to drag a box across the table. And now, using the Reading Order tool, we have the option to define what type of field this is. In this case, let's click on Table. As we can see, this has now been correctly identified as a table, and as this is page number 2, it's identified as item 1, and I can confirm that this is in the correct order. So I'm going to close the Reading Order tool. So let's go back to our accessibility report by clicking on the accessibility icon on the far left-hand panel. Now we're happy that the reading order is correct and the items are correctly identified. We can manually pass this item. To do this, right-click and click on Pass. Next, we need to check that the colour and contrast is correct. To do this, we're going to click on Edit in the top tabs, and then we're going to click on Preferences. Next, if not already highlighted, we want to click on Accessibility, and then we're going to click on Replace Document Colours. From here, select Use High Contrast Colours, and in this instance I'm going to change it to black on white text to match the rest of the document. Next I'm going to click OK, and as you can see the document text has now been changed to black on white. And so again we can now manually pass this checkbox. So next we have an issue with our tables. It hasn't recognised the headers, so we need to identify where the headers are for the table. And we also need a summary for our table that explains what the table is about. So if we click the drop down next to headers, we can click on element 1 that will indicate the element that needs addressing. To help us set the header table, we're going to need the reading order tool again. We're going to highlight the table and then we're going to use the table editor. We want to drag a box across the header columns and then right click and click on Table Cell Properties. From here we can change this to a header cell and we want to identify it as a column. Click OK to save this change, and then under the accessibility checker on the left hand side we're going to right click and click check again. As you can see, this cell is now passed. Next we need to set the summary for our table. So again we want to click on the reading options tool, then select the table and then right click to bring up an options menu. From here we want to locate and click on Edit Table Summary. As you can see, this brings up a box and we can begin to write a description for our table. I'm going to do the same again for the table on the second page, and just note that it's a continuation of the first table. Again, let's right click and check again, and as we can see, this element has now been passed. Finally, on this document, we have some header nesting issues. Let's have a look at which elements these are, and as we can see, it's the header of our document and the first paragraph. So to change this, let's use the reading order tool and drag a box across the header. Next, we want to identify this as heading 1. This now creates it as its own individual item. Next, we can click on field 2 and we'll click text paragraph to identify this as a text box. Finally, let's right click and then click on check again. As we can see, this final element has now been passed and we have a fully WCAG 2.1 compliant PDF document ready to upload on our website. So, thanks for joining me on this training video. I hope it's been useful to you and will assist you in beginning to create some of your documents to be fully web accessibility compliant. Before you go, I quickly wanted to talk to you about our fully WCAG 2.1 compliant websites. Cloudy IT and its partners offer fully WCAG 2.1 compliant websites using our web accessibility tool. This AI tool means you can have a fully featured and stunning looking website while still being able to comply 100% with WCAG 2.1. As you can see here, we have our Cloudy Council demo website. By clicking on our accessibility tool on the left hand side, we have a number of options. So let's take a look at some of the features. As you can see here at the top, we have our WCAG 2.1 compliance statement. And we have a number of options that are easily switched on and off, that change the look of the website depending on the disability. For blind users, the tool will automatically pick up that they have software installed on their device and will enable the screen reading tool. There's a number of options, including this convenient screen reader, and the ability to change the size and colour of the text, and the overall colour profile or contrast of the website itself. The tool is AI enhanced and every 24 hours will fully scan your website to ensure that it meets 100% WCAG 2.1 compliance. If you'd like to learn more about our fully web accessible websites, then please get in touch by using the email at the end of this video. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.